Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Small, and I am honored to be here with you all to share Miss Destiny, sorry, Miss Destiny Banner's story. She is an author, a mother, and an entrepreneur. Stay tuned to learn more about Destiny and how you can purchase her book and get some mommy tips. Hey, Destiny.
Hi.
Hey. So let's hop right on in. Tell us how your day was. I know that you're working from home now. You have the kids, and it's like a lot going on in the world and in our personal lives. So
Mhm.
let's debrief and talk about how Destiny is feeling.
I feel on edge today. Only because I had like a super overwhelming day. My currently like I just started working from home. What was that? 10 days ago. So I'm in training still. And so my trainer actually went on vacation today. And so he kind of left me hanging and like my manager was like asking for things that I hadn't done before. So I had to figure out how to do that. My newborn is screaming in the background. I'm like trying to scramble to figure out how to do my job and figure out how to calm her down, get the boys to school. So it was pretty overwhelming today, but I did get through it. So I'm grateful for that. But I just was like, I have to figure her out a schedule because that literally had me stressed out. So that's how my day was for the most part. Now I'm kind of like, reflecting on it and kind of like just breathing through what happened earlier. And so, like, I'm okay now.
Yep, that's a part of motherhood, figuring stuff out, balancing stuff, and you've been doing a great job. So,
Thank
give us some more mommy tips of how to, bounce back after having a baby, how to still chase after our dreams after having a baby. You even got your bachelor's degree while expecting. So tell us more about your journey.
Yeah, so I started working on my bachelor's degree in I think 2019, maybe 2020. I'm not 100% sure. I do know like my junior going into senior years when COVID surfaced. So whatever time that was. And so I've always been good at math. So I went to school for mathematics. It's a long road coming. But I finally finished 2021. I found out I was pregnant in roughly March or April of 2021, and my pregnancy was high risk. So I was like going to the doctor once a week, once to twice a week. It just depended on the schedule. I was like on iron infusions, super intense pregnancy. Didn't really think that I was going to see the light through, which is what led me to turn to God. I want to say like August of 2021 is when I started like getting serious, going to church because I felt like I'm asking God for help, but I'm not doing my part in like getting into the word and stuff. And so that's what really got me through the pregnancy, which got me through school. I did let my teachers know, super supportive. So I really appreciate them for that. But for the most part, it was really just waking up every day, trying to be positive and trying to just get through each day, day by day, knowing that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and it was. I got my degree. I wasn't able to walk the stage because I had a repeat C-section, so I was pretty bummed out about that. But this isn't the end for me. I'm going for my master's and my PhD, so I just figured what I wasn't able to do now, I'll be able to do in the near future.
That is so good. I'm so proud of you, Destiny. Like,
Thank you.
you just keep going and you're nonstop. You're a mom on fire and you're doing it and you're making it look so easy. I'm like, God, okay,
Girl,
what Destiny got that I ain't got? What am I doing wrong? you know?
girl, it's
So
not easy.
girl, I know. And you have three kids, and I'm over here with one, and I'm trying to figure out like how do I get back to the Alexis I was before Abrielle? And the answer is you're not. You're not going to
Yeah,
get back to that. You're going to transition into Alexis and Abrielle, and you're going to figure it out from there.
yeah,
And I think that a lot of new moms need to understand, but there's so much pressure on social media, on the internet. Like, you have to bounce back and you have to be this bad bitch after you have this baby, and it's not like that for normal women. You know, we're looking at celebrities bounce back, and that's not for, you know, normal women. We don't bounce back like that. We don't, a lot of us don't have the support system. We don't have a lot of things that these celebrities have. So I want a lot of new moms to stop putting so much pressure and just understand, like, it's gonna be okay. Just breathe. So
Mhm. And that's the thing. You can't compare yourself to other people because that's what I used to do. I used to
mhm,
get on Instagram and be looking at other people, look at other people's relationships, look at other people's clothes, anything that somebody else had. I'm like, oh, I want that.
mhm,
And it's like you don't even know the behind the scenes. And you have to stop for a second and think like, why do you want that? Is it just because why? Like you have no idea how they got it. You have no idea what they're going through. Like you want all these materialistic things and you want this kind of like fantasy life, but you don't even know if it's worth having.
mhm,
Um, I had to figure out the hard way, and that was like admitting to myself like if I want something else or I want things that other people have, that means like I truly am not comfortable in my own skin, which means I truly don't really love myself enough. Because if I was comfortable in my own skin, then I wouldn't aspire to be somebody else.
that's true. That is
So
true.
you got to be harsh with yourself and realize like it's great that other people have stuff and you have to be genuinely happy for other people, and you just know that your turn is coming, but it's just going to take probably a little bit longer, or those things are probably not meant for you. Like it's you don't always have to be snatched and have a nice person drive a nice car and have a perfect relationship. Like that's kind of like not realistic. You see on Instagram and TikTok and whatever other platform what people want you to see. They don't show you the real.
That's true. That's
So
true. So you vaguely touched on, you know, getting into the word, and I've been watching you on social media and how you have these Bible studies, you have a self-care jar, self-love jar, and you actually have a self-care book. Can you touch on those and let us know your journey into creating the book and coming up with this idea with the jar?
yeah, so the jar, it was it New Year's or a few days before New Year's? I'm not 100% sure, but around the new year, super cliche, new year, new me. But like I took that and was like, no, I'm for real. Like this is really going to be a new year and a new me because 2021 was super duper hard for me, super dark for me. Like I felt like mild depression and stuff. So I knew that 2022, like I wanted change for myself, especially admitting the harsh reality that I didn't pour into myself enough love. And so my friends and I got together on New Year's, and they had the idea of the jar. And so we got these mason jars, got some stickers, had some popsicle sticks, and we're just they're like, what should we write on it? And I'm like, I don't know, things that you don't get to do that you want to. And I'm like, it don't even have to be crazy things. Like, don't start writing on there that you want to go to Tulum. Like, write on things that you can do, like realistically. Like for me, nap time. Like I don't get to nap every day. So like now I try to nap when my baby naps because sleep is essential too. Things like that. And so I brought my jar. This is how it looks. I have this virtual screen, so it's kind of weird, but this is how it looks. And basically inside of the jar, I'm gonna pull a stick now because I didn't do any of this stuff today.
Okay.
So this pic that I just pulled says social media break. And so actually I was trying to deactivate my Instagram because I'm like, when I get on Instagram, like I'm on there all day. Like I'm scrolling, I'm looking, and it's just not good for me. And so this is cool because I need to deactivate my Instagram, and I'm gonna do that pretty soon. But I'm just gonna take a break from the app, like I'm gonna just sign out. But I'm gonna probably disable it overall just because I feel like I'm getting distracted. And so that's basically what I have in the jar, like things like that, like things that I know that I need to be doing. Nap time, cook my favorite dinner, social media break, buy myself flowers, take a bubble bath, things like that. And so a few people had hit me up, like asking me about the jar and asking me, do I sell them? And I'm like, no. And then I was like, you know what? Like this girl was like, can you please make me one? Like I'll pay you. So I was like, okay. So I made her one, and it was actually fun doing like that type of stuff is therapeutic for me. And so like now I do like make them for people if they're requested. They're already on my website. But basically it's just a jar that you fill up with the things that you basically don't have time for, and that's going to be good for you. It's your kids, so don't be writing things about your kids in there. You just write things that solely pour into you.
Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. Can you tell us about your Bible study and walk us through that process? I'm very intrigued by what I've been seeing on TikTok.
Yeah, so I got this book called Bible in 52 Weeks for Women. It's a year-long journey, and I will share that book. I didn't actually bring it with me, but I will share that book with anyone who wants to know the exact book. It's also somewhere on my TikTok. But basically, the book takes you through the Bible in increments. And so, like, for example, day one, for week one, I believe it was like reading Genesis 1 through 4. And so it takes you through the Bible in chunks that you can actually do. It's not like you read all of Genesis, like it's a little bit each day. And after you read for the week, like it asks you to reflect about what you read. And so it'll ask you like little questions basically to help you ponder and make sure you understood exactly what you read. And so that book really helped me because that was actually a stick that I wrote in my vision jar that I wanted to actually go to Bible study in church. When all along, like you don't have to be in church to learn the word. Like it's really good to, of course, fellowship. But I feel like sometimes, like for me, I just don't have enough time. And so if I just make time within myself in my own home to do Bible study, I'm pretty sure that's pleasing enough to God. And so that's what I do every day. I try to read my Bible, following the Bible in 52 weeks. If I don't have time, I make sure the next day I do double. So whatever I didn't read yesterday, like I'll read what I'm supposed to read that day plus whatever I missed. And then I'll just write it down. I have a prayer journal too that I try to write in every day just to, put little, it don't even have to be paragraphs. I write like a scripture that I like. Like yesterday, I wrote in the prayer journal Hebrews 11:1, which basically says that faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And so I like that one a lot just because that's what I lack sometimes, faith. So, um, yeah, that's what I do. I just try to like get into the word, try to learn it, and try to apply it to my life.
So that is very interesting, and I need to get into it. I think a lot of well, people, I want to say new moms, but people in general, we lack consistency and we're upset that we don't see the results that we want to see in 7 days.
Mhm.
So, how did you get into setting boundaries and standing, just sticking with it? Like, no, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do this for Destiny, because if Destiny's not whole, Destiny the mom is not whole. I can't pour into my kids if I am not full. So,
Yeah.
what are some tips on setting boundaries?
Um, you have to be okay with being transparent, like with yourself in all areas. Last year, my kid's dad and I was like going through some things. It rolled over into this year, and so we ended up breaking up ultimately. But when I started off the year, I said like I'm not gonna really be like, of course, like I wanted my relationship to work, but I did also say like I'm not everything into the relationship because I wasn't investing anything into myself. And so what that meant for me is that like you are going to get serious with this stuff. Like you can't say like, oh, I'm gonna do it and then you don't do it. Like I just really said like every day you need to read your Bible, like period. It's nothing else to talk about. Like you ask God for things and it's very hypocritical for you to be begging for stuff and you don't even give him the time of day. And so like I honestly was just convicted, I think, by the Holy Spirit because I felt like my hand was always out asking God for stuff, and it was like, "Well, what do you do for me?" And then I was just honest, like nothing. Like I ain't been to church, like I wasn't reading my Bible, like, and it was just I so I was like, you know what, like I don't want to be like that anymore. Like I always had like a good background with God, and so like, but it was always on and off. Like I was always backsliding. But like now, like not to say like I'm holier than thou and that I have it all together. Like I still fall short. Like I'm still human. but like I do my best to read my Bible every single day, just because like that's me engaging in the word, and that's going to make me pull off of some of those sins that, I constantly do.
Mhm. Yeah, that's real. So tell us about your journey creating. You have two books, Mommy, Mommy, Can't You See, and The Self Care Recipe, a 30-day journey with you and God. How did you come up with the idea for both? And what made you want to write a children's book? And then what made you want to write a self love book?
Start with the children's book. So the children's book actually came from me working with my cousin, Terrell. He is actually super busy. There is an entrepreneur. He's always on the go, always looking for new projects. And so him and I had spoke one day, and he was saying like that he wanted to work on a project that involved children. And I was like, oh, cool, like that's cool. Like I always wanted to like work with kids, and I was like, I feel like I can write a book, but I don't know. And he was like, man, he was like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, well, you do your project and I'm gonna do mine, and we're gonna meet back up in 60 days. And so this was January, because we were supposed to meet back in January, February, March. And so like I said, my cousin's super busy. So I hit him up like, hey, like I got my words and stuff. I got my manuscript. My cousin's also an artist. So I'm like, so I need you to draw. And he's like, okay, I got you. But every day he was like involved in something. So I'm like, oh my God, like he's playing. And like, if I don't do it, then I'm gonna like forget about it. And so the book that I had originally wrote, like it wasn't like all together. And so what I did was I went to God about it. Like I got in the shower and I prayed inside the shower, and I'm like, Lord, if it's meant for me to write this children's book, like give me the words and give me the guidance to be able to put the words on paper and find the person who's supposed to draw for me. And so in the shower, like little sentences just start flowing. And I'm like, oh my God, like I got to get out the shower and I need to write this stuff down. So I got out the shower, sat on the ledge of my tub, and I opened up my notes and I just wrote down everything that was coming to my mind. And it just was a full story. Like I down, and then I was like, okay, now I have to find an artist. So I hit up my cousin, told him like I love you, and I know that you got a lot on your plate. Please don't feel pressure to like do this for me. But do you know anybody else who I can reach out to? And so he referred me to Fiverr, the app. And so I got on there, but like I didn't know how to work that. Like I didn't even know what it was. So I'm looking and I'm like, who, like, what is this? So I kind of was getting discouraged, and I ended up mentioning it to one of my friends. And I'm like, yeah, like I wrote this children's book, but like I don't have an artist. And so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the illustrations, and I'll probably just put it off and figure it out later. And they're like, oh, well, my daughter draws. And I'm like, does she really draw, or is she like, trying? And he's like, no, she really draws. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna send you my manuscript and sit and show it to her and let me know like if she can at least do a cover page. And so he was like, okay. So he sent it to her. She came back in the next like 2 to 3 days with a cover page, and I'm like, whoa, like she can draw. And I'm like, and it looks super good. And so I'm like, okay. I said, well, ask her, is she up for a project? Like, of course, I'm gonna pay her, and just let me know what she says. So he comes back and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. So then I go back to my cousin and I'm talking to him and just asking him for his advice about like contracts and stuff like that. And long story short, I ended up working with a young girl. She's actually going to be graduating high school. And she ends up doing the illustrations for me. And I was able to get back on Fiverr, find me an editor, find me someone who can do like the graphic designs, because Alexis, I was hitting you up like the dimensions is off. I was getting irritated. Like this is not for me. Like the dimensions wasn't working. Amazon kept sending stuff back, and I'm like, you know what? Well, maybe it's just not meant to be. And so I ended up finding this really nice guy, and he ended up doing my dimensions and literally doing everything for me to be able to make the book fit to whatever Amazon wanted. And then that it came to pass. So that's the background there for the children's book. My self-care book, I was talking to my friend Brittany, and I was just telling her like, I do all these things and like I really feel good about it. Like at the beginning of the year, like I was on fire. Like I was feeling super good about the things that I was doing, being in my Bible, using my vision jar, writing down questions and asking myself questions that like I wasn't honest with before, like from my past. And so I was telling her like I feel like I can share this with people. Like I don't know how I'm gonna share it with them, but like I feel like this is like super good for like people to learn transparency within themselves. And she was like, you should be a speaker. And I was like, oh no, like I'm super shy. So I was like, I don't think that I can just get up and like speak to an audience that I don't know. I'll start stumbling on my words and I just can't do that yet. Like I feel like I probably can in the future, but not right now. And I was like, what if I just write a book? And she was like, you do it. And I was like, girl, that's too much work. Like, you tripping. Like, this is before I even wrote my children's book. So I'm like, no, this is too much work. Like, you're crazy. And I was like, I don't know. I said, I'm gonna try. I said, I'm gonna just start writing down my thoughts and I'm gonna just see if it's enough. So I start writing down my thoughts. I start writing down the questions. I start writing down the things that I did into the book, and then it just started flowing. Like one page went to the next, and then the next, and I had a 30-day journey, and I was like, you know what? Like I want to share this with people because I feel like it worked for me, and I think it will be good for others, for them to work on themselves. Because I feel like in the Black community, like we're not honest to say like, oh, I don't love myself enough. I feel like that's actually a question that's frowned upon. Like, why wouldn't I love myself? Like people get offended, and I feel like the offense is because you're defending that you probably don't pour into yourself what you deserve.
Mhm.
So that's why I wrote that one.
Okay, that's deep, and I'm listening to you and I'm like, I need to purchase her book. I need to go ahead and get that book. So, uh, we could do a shameless plug right after this question. Uh, girl, I done lost the question. You got me just thinking like to get the 52-week book. I need to get the self-care book. I need to get the children's book for my little one. But my last question is, girl, totally lost it. You can go ahead and do your shameless plug. Where can we get the book? Where can we follow you? Oh, the question was, see, I got mom brain. The question was, what can we expect from Destiny in the future? I know you said you want to get your master's degree and your PhD.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So what is your career goal, and what else can we expect from you in the future?
I've always wanted to be a mentor for young girls just because like I had my first son when I was in high school. I had him when I was a sophomore in high school, and so I felt like I didn't have like I had friends and of course my family supported me, but I didn't have anyone who could really relate to me and give like the adequate advice that I needed during that time. And so like I've always wanted to be that advocate for young girls. And so in the future, like I feel like I want to start like a nonprofit and find sponsors to be able to help like young moms who don't have, the resources to ultimately provide for their kid, or don't even have the help like from the family to be able to know how they should and should not parent. Like I said, there's no guide for parenting, but there is parents who've been through it and know, hey, that's not a good idea. You should try this. And it's not for them to take it as I'm telling you what to do with your kid. It's from experience and just wanting to share it because I feel like, especially in the black community, we don't have those resources to find people who genuinely care about um, us or our kids. And so I want to become that person just for young moms because like I said, I didn't feel like I had that for me. Like my mom, hands down, was like my biggest support system. My grandma, my brothers, cousins, my whole family was there for me, but I didn't feel like they can relate because they were not in that experience. Like they didn't really know how it felt to be a teen mom, how it feels to be the youngest one in the family having a kid, or people looking at you and trying to do the math in their head, trying to figure out how old you are, how old your baby is, are you married, are you not, all this judgment. So that's definitely something that I'm working on. That's something that I want to do, which is why I want to get my master's. I feel like when it comes to education, sponsors want to support those who basically know what they're talking about. And that's why I want to get my master's. And also, like, I've always really liked school. I love education, so I don't mind spending my time in the classroom. And then also showing the girls, like, you don't have to give up on your dreams because you had a baby. It's going to take you longer, but you can do it. Like, I felt like, oh, I'm not going to go to college no more, even though I always wanted to go to college. But I feel like, oh, I'm not going to go. I'm going to just provide for my kids. But why? Like, why do I have to stop my dreams because I had kids? It's just going to take me longer. Even if you have to take one class a semester, like, you can do it. So,
That is so, I'm just so proud of y'all. So, y'all don't know, I went to elementary school with Destiny's older brother, and I remember little Destiny with the barrettes running around, and just to see how much she has matured, and just, I'm just rooting for you, Destiny. And
thank
your
you.
story is so, you need to write your story, your personal story. Like, you will be touching so many lives. Like, you're great with words, and you have a story that needs to be told. So I'm so grateful that you allowed me to get a glimpse on this interview. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to touch so many young moms' lives, because I'm an older mom, and I'm not even that old, but just older.
Like, you need to stop.
Just older, but just hearing, you know I couldn't imagine having a baby in high school, and then for you to say, like, for you to be 50. Well, how old was you? How old were you?
15 when I got pregnant and 16 when I had them.
But at 15 years old, you felt the judgment. At that young age, you felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine 15-year-old Alexis feeling that judgment. Nobody wants to feel like they're being judged.
Yeah.
And the fact that you understood, like, there's nobody around me that feels the way that I feel, because they haven't walked what I've walked. They haven't. It's just an eye opener on how people should be mindful about the things they say and the way that they look at other people, because you don't know. And I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people thought, oh, she had this baby, that's a wrap for her. Well, no, she has graduated. She has published not one but two books, and she's going for the PhD. Like,
Yeah.
girl, go ahead. I ain't mad at you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, where can people purchase your book? Y'all have to come support Destiny.
So, my preference for people to support is directly through me, just because Amazon takes your royalties. So, like, what that means is, like, they take a percentage out of whatever everything that you sell, all the units that you sell. So, I would prefer for them to shop with me. Everything is available on the website. The Vision Jar is available, and the two books. And the website is cocobutter.com. I also sell skincare products and hair care products on there. And so the spelling is COKOBUTTA.com.
Okay.
And then for the books, you can purchase those from Amazon. The books are the only thing that's available on Amazon. So if you were looking for a vision jar, you would have to get it from my website. But Amazon does have both books. Either way, either support line is appreciated. I really do hope whoever purchased the book, I hope that it helps you as it's helped me. I just feel like it's going to bring yourself closer to you, and you're probably not even going to realize how disconnected you was from yourself until you start really like getting connected and answering those questions, getting in the word, because the book also takes you through Bible scriptures to allow you to engage in your word. It doesn't get you all the way there, but it does try to, allow you to scratch the surface to see how good it feels to be connected with God, and how things in your life, I feel like, will change once you get a relationship with him.
Mhm. And where can we follow you on social media?
What is
TikTok.
my
I know
home?
you have to take a break, but y'all have to follow Destiny. Well, I can just link it in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my Instagram is DestB, and that's DESSTTB as in boy. And then my TikTok, what is it? Let me check. Hold on, y'all. Oh, my TikTok is the exact same. DESSTTB as in boy. I didn't know that. I don't be knowing what I be putting on these things. Okay, I'm new here.
No worries. All right. So that concludes this interview. I hope that you guys go follow Destiny and support her by purchasing the skincare. the books, the vision, the self-care jar, and follow her on TikTok, Instagram, etc. All right. Thank you, Destiny.
All right. You have a good day. Thank you for
Take
your
care.
time.
Mhm.
Okay.